Hello, 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 hello. Yes, it's the old git here. How are you doing? Today, have you noticed I've not got a hat on? No hat on today. Because today I'm really serious. Because I am livid. I really need to have a rant. Because I am absolutely sick and tired already of this new Labour government. And I'll come to that in a minute just to let you know that I'm here. And it's just absolutely driving me crazy at the moment, and I really, I just can't take it anymore. Get rid of them. You don't know what's going on, or do you? Anyway, let's start the show. Good to be here. Don't forget bestbeforetv@gmail.com. Get in touch, or bestbefore.t, or you can go and watch the TV station on www.bestbeforetv.com. That's that out the way. Now, what is it I'm angry about? Now, I think the Labour Party now have sunk to a new low. And now it's blatantly obvious that their allegiance is not with the majority of people, of the British people. You've noticed I didn't say white people, okay? I said people who are not white but come in a range of colours in the UK. Okay, so they are British people. I'm not talking about just white people. I'm talking about British people who adhere to British way of life, politics, all the rest of it, and assimilate into society. And also colour shouldn't have a factor when people assimilate into a country. They are what they are. They may practice a different religion. They may like the culture they came from. But when they come to our country or to the UK or to any other country to live, you have to assimilate. Multiculturalism doesn't work, and it's been proved time and time again. But there's one group out of all the other groups, all the other people who've come to make their life in Britain, who do not assimilate. This group have no intention of assimilating into the British way of life, not at all, okay? They're making demands now that they can abide by their own laws. And just to give you an example, the type of demands they made, I want to play you this first video just to set the scene, because the people like this man who's already gone to prison, there's many of him now. There's many in the country that feel the same, who want Sharia law. Now we have a law. We have the law of the land, and that's it. There shouldn't be any other. So let's have a look at how they do it, and what they've done, and what they think, and what they want. And this lasts about 2 minutes. Let's just watch it so that you know what I'm talking about. People who do not want to integrate with our society. In fact, they want to change our society in many ways. They want to bring in their own laws and eventually probably enforce them on the indigenous population, irrespective of what colour you are, black, brown, pink, blue, green, whatever you may be. So let's watch this, and when you've watched this, we'll move on, because there's a few things I want to say. I am really in rant mood today that I couldn't even put my hat on. Let's see.
He was once a lawyer, but in recent years, Anjem Choudhury's become known as one of the United Kingdom's most radical Islamic preachers. He has a long history with groups espousing extreme views, including a leading role with Al Muhajirun and founding Islam for UK, where he once called for Buckingham Palace to be turned into a mosque. Both groups are now banned under UK anti-terror legislation. While not leading protests, Choudhury held lectures around the UK. He made no secret of his desires when he spoke to France 24 in 2009.
We do believe that one day France will be under the Sharia, Britain will be under the Sharia. In fact, the whole world will be under the authority of the Muslims implementing the Islamic law and order.
Chowdhury's legal experience doubtless led to his understanding of just how far he could go to remain within the confines of the law.
Makruh is disliked. Al-Qaeda is a phenomenon of resistance against occupation and of calling for the Sharia, you know. And you can see nowadays that if you call for the Sharia, people call you Al-Qaeda. If Al-Qaeda means you're calling for the Sharia and you want people to liberate your land and you want to protect the life, honor and property of the Muslims, then I'm Al-Qaeda.
Chowdhury's supporters appear to have taken his teaching to heart. Some of those who became radicalised include the bombers who killed 52 people during attacks on London public transport in 2005, and the 2 men convicted of publicly murdering soldier Lee Rigby in the capital 3 years ago. Chowdhury's own support of Islamic extremism saw a turning point in 2014. He posted a pledge of loyalty to the Islamic State group online in May that year, before going on to upload a series of talks exhorting people to do the same in the months that followed. It was enough evidence for British law enforcement. Chowdhury was convicted of supporting and touting the extremist group in July this year and later sentenced to 5.5 years in prison.
Now that was Amjad Chowdhury, and he's probably... I've used his video because he's already been convicted and he's already been sent to prison. Not once, but twice. He was sent to prison for, I think, 4 or 5 years, or what it was. It came out and then offended again. He is one of these people who really wants Sharia law, not only in the UK, but in the rest of the world. And this type of doctrine is being spread around the UK in a big way. And I'm tired of it. I'm fed up. And it's not only in the UK, it's across Europe. There's churches being burnt down in Europe and in France, and they say that the far right is causing problems, and now the British government is going to protect these people. Oh yes, they're going to make it law. So just what I want to do now is just to carry on a little bit and go a little bit further, I want you to look at these people here. And the worst thing about this new Labour Party, and as you see them there, you've got Angela Rayner, the good time girl, yeah? They are completely out of order with the British people. Completely against the British people. Now, under this new government, under the control of Mr. Tutier Starmer there, I've put him with his new look, and then also his sidekick, which is good time girl Angela Rayner, who was, when she was electioneering before the election, she was in a mosque with a big group of men, and she says, and she promised, not on the mandate of the people, but on the mandate of their own, that they would recognize Gaza, they would rebuild Gaza, and they would, as far as I'm concerned, be friends with the organised and banned terrorist group Hamas, because that's who is running Gaza, a banned terrorist group. But they are siding with them because, oh, we will recognise them and all this. No, we won't do anything of the sort, because until those people are eradicated, Israel will never be safe. Now, we've got all these protesters going out on the street who don't know the history at all. But believe me, if you want to check, there's plenty of video around, there's plenty of evidence that the Israelis, the Jews, were there in that land way before the name Palestine or Palestinian was ever thought of. And they were kicked out and brought back and kicked out, but never mind that, by the Romans and various others. So don't go on about 1947 or whatever it was, when they were given over by the British government, that land, because it was their land originally. Okay? And Palestine didn't really exist many years ago when the Jews first had that land. Anyway, I don't want to give you a history lesson. If you're too stupid and too daft to look up what you're supporting before you start supporting, that's your fault. I'm not going to educate you. Now, we know also, and the reason I put this picture up there, that the Labour Party, in the background, anti-Semitism has been there and will always be there, and it's not gone away. They say that Keir Starmer got rid of it within the Labour Party. Complete rubbish. He made a few sacrificial lambs and made himself look good. But all the time in the background they were there and they're waiting. And Starmer and Rayner attack and disrupt British society. They're disrupting our way of life, or your way of life, because I don't live there, as you know. Whilst they were supporting Jew-hating minorities over the rest of the British people, and they're still doing it. They're making laws to protect this society, and it's wrong. Now, David Lammy has just put the nail in the coffin. Why has he done it? Why did he cancel weapons contracts to our allies? The people who are our friends, the people who are allied with us. Gaza's not. People like Amjad Chowdhury and all them, they're not. They want us all to become Islamic or die. That's the rule of thumb really now. But they're putting Islamophobia. Angela Rayner can't even put a meaning to the word Islamophobia. There's no such thing as Islamophobia. Okay? There's a fear of being taken over by a regime that's not British. Let's put it that way. I'll put it like that. And the weapons contracts, 30 weapons contracts David Lammy's just cancelled. Those weapons are to help stave off the total annihilation of a sovereign country by a banned terrorist organisation. To me, this makes Britain guilty of supporting terrorism, especially not Britain, but the Labour Party. And should there be a case then to be answered for in law? Because they are saying that they're supporting the government of that land, a banned terrorist group who's control. As long as they're there, it's a terrorist country, isn't it? It's ruled by terrorists. So, is there maybe a question that there should be, the Labour Party should face a case in law for supporting and helping to favour a terrorist group that's banned? And the reason, and the only reason that the Labour Party do this, is so that the Labour Party's only mission is to secure votes of that one ethnic group. That's all. Because they know it's a big group, and because the lethargic people, British public, are lethargic and don't go out and vote, this is what you have now. Now there's one more point to consider. That's why his picture there. If you look at the picture below there, the British system of elected MP allows 4 MPs to be elected on a Gaza mandate. Hang on. Surely MPs should only be elected on policies that are to do with domestic British values, laws and ways of life first. Although they have a comrade standing there in all his glory, Jeremy Corbyn, who seems to hate his own country in favour of rogue, despot, Marxist, communist countries. Yes, that's the man. I cannot stand him. I think he is a disgrace to the UK, and I'm going to bash his head in right now. There you go. So give his head a good bash. Might knock some sense into. Anyway, So he's a true hater of Britain as far as I'm concerned, because everybody he supports is people like Hamas. And, you know, he makes me absolutely angry. In fact, he's driving the world crazy. But what can you do? You can't do anything, because you people out there voted for these people to be in power. Now, Starmer will be ousted. Oh yes, he will. By the anti-Semites and the comunistas that still lurk in the background of the Labour Party. Okay, the sacrificial lamb. Angela Rayner is a staunch comunista, and he'll be ousted. And what will happen is he'll be voted. They'll put all votes of no confidence in Starmer when he's made a complete dog's ear or cat's ear or whatever ear, pig's ear of all and sundry of what's going on, and the only thing will be to vote him out. At this stage, and I've said this before, I feel that Jeremy Corbyn will be he'll be asked to cross the floor and become the new leader of the Labour Communist Party in Britain, and Britain then will be finished, believe me. So what's going on in Britain today is terrible. What's happening for saying naughty, haughty words that you shouldn't say, you go to prison for. For having beliefs that are not in line with what the Labour Party like to hear, you go to prison for. For protesting, even innocently now, in a way that's against the people that want to take you over, basically you probably go to prison for. In fact, anything that they don't like, you go to prison for. As far as I'm concerned, that's tantamount to putting people in prison for political reasons. Political prisoners, and that's what they are. Let's face it. When other people can walk down the streets with machetes and not go to prison. People have been let out that have committed proper crimes just so they can make room to put their political prisoners in prison. Look at them. These are the people. These are the people who are going to destroy your life as far as I'm concerned. You know, for me it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know, I'm an old man. Okay, but I've seen better times. I've seen when people could walk down the street and not be afraid of having their mobile phones stolen, or being robbed in the street, or being stabbed, or being beaten. Or it's disgusting the way it's going. And you know whose fault? It's your fault. All you people sitting there in England that didn't go out and vote, it's your fault, because you let these despots in. And they're there now for 4 years, and 4 years of misery. How come they can find money to invest in overseas projects to save the planet, but they can't invest in helping people who serve their country back into society because they need it? They've been trained killers and they need to get back into society, and they've done their bit. Or to help home people who have been homeless for years and years. They can't. But they can home migrants that get off a boat with no credentials, no passport, and come to the country illegally. Forget the word irregular. They are illegal. When you enter a country without a passport, without permission, it's illegal. Not only here, but anywhere in the world. So do not try to put other words to it. It's an illegal entry. And you put them in the hotels, you pay their bills, you give them food, and they have the audacity to complain. We want more money, we want more food, we want a house. Yeah, there's so many people that have paid their dues all their life and still can't get the benefits that you're getting. I can't see a dentist if I went to... I can where I live now. I can see a dentist tomorrow. But in England, I cannot. I couldn't go and see a dentist on the National Health. I can't even get doctor's appointments. Everything's go haywire. They give train drivers wages of way above what anybody else is getting in the private sector. 70 grand they're getting, or whatever it is. What's going on? Why are they appeasing the unions? I tell you why. Because the unions are the ones that back them. And you people there are nothing. And in one of my previous videos, which if you've not seen it, I told you about a report that was done by Leeds University. Not my words, a proper report done, look it up, Leeds University, and saying by 2050 that the white person in Britain will be a minority. Why do you think Starmer's pandering to this other group, this ethnic group? Why? Because they are having more children, and yet 1.5 million are unemployed. They came here to work, but they don't work, and yet they have the highest birth rate of all other groups. And by 2050, they will be possibly the majority amongst others, and the white indigenous people of the world, of the UK, will be a minority. And you know whose fault it is? Yours. Your fault again, because you're complacent, you don't go out and vote. You allow your country to be taken over. If that's what you want, fine. It may be a conspiracy theory that I'm talking about, but a lot of the evidence is already there. And the Leeds University report quite clearly states what I've just said. I'm not lying, I'm not scaremongering, I'm just telling you the truth. I think they were a little short on the year, to be honest, because it seems to me that it could be happening right now. Anyway, it won't really matter to me a lot. As I say, I'm 71 years old now. Who say how long you live, but hopefully I don't live to see what I predict. I'm afraid for everybody in the UK. Not just because of this, because of all that I see. And these governments still think they are a superpower. You're an island in the middle of the North Sea, overpopulated, underfunded military. You have virtually no protection against an attack. And people, you've got a fifth column within. And all they have to do is attack Britain, because it can be taken in a day. Russia would take it in a day. How's that? That sounds bad, doesn't it? But you have nothing. You're a little island now. You're not the big mover in the world that you used to be. And that's what people see now. They see you as a joke. Where's the pride gone in Britain? There isn't any. We have feral children running round, parents that don't care. What are you going to do? You're going to put the pride back in Britain? You're going to be proud of it? You're going to stop your children growing up to be feral? I don't think so. So, think on, people. I've had my rant. It's all down to you. Until the next time, if they don't sell the naughty police to stop me, I'll be going. All I can say is stay safe, and hopefully I'll see you soon.